Jeffrey Epstein was your neighbour. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about him. East 71st Street. He was your neighbour for 10 years. How well did you know him?
All right. So we are in number 11 and he lives in number 9.
Right.
So we renovate, we buy our house, and our house is pigeons and mice.
Right.
Okay. That's it. It was derelict.
Right.
So we rebuild our house. We move in 2005. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein is arrested in like 2008, I think, or something like that.
Right.
So knock on the door. His assistant on like a Saturday says, Mr. Epstein, your neighbor would like to invite you over for coffee. So my wife and I go next door. You know, we walk the 7 steps,
yes,
right, to the next house for coffee. We share a wall.
Right.
So it's in New York City. So he invites us in. We have coffee in this, and he says, do you want a tour? We said, great.
Interesting.
He's got a really big house.
Every room you went into?
He's got, well, I'll tell you. So his house is like super big, really wide. And so he gives me a tour in the living room, big living room. And then across from it is double doors. I assume it's the dining room.
Yeah.
And he opens the doors and there's a massage table in the middle of the room.
Ooh.
And candles all around and stuff. So I ask very insightful, cutting questions. I say to him, massage table in the middle of your house? How often you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he like gets like weirdly close to me.
Ooh.
And he says, and the right kind of massage.
Ooh.
Now my wife is standing here. So she looks at me and I look at her and we say, I'm sorry, we have to go. And we left. And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again.
Really?
So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
Oh.
And so I look back at it as a gift.
Yes.
He gave me a gift.
Yes.
Of avoid.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
So
that's my story. A one and absolutely done.
Right. So, I mean, that's an incredible story that you could pick up that he was a pervert.
It's gross. The guy's gross. Right with my wife. Like he's gross. The guy's gross. This was not, the deep nuance of Howard Lutnick. This guy's gross.
Right. So how come Bill Gates and all these other people could hang around him and not see what you saw? Or did they see it and ignore it? Or
no, they participated.
Right.
That's what his MO was, get a massage, And what happened in that massage room, I assume was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever. Blackmailed people. That's how he had money. So
what happened to those videos? Why is there now such a dearth of information when, Donald Trump's people are running the FBI and the DOJ?
I assume way back when they traded those videos in exchange for him getting that 18-month sentence, which allowed him to have visits and be out of jail. I mean, he's a serial sex offender. How could he get 18 months and be able to go to his office during the day and have visitors and stuff? It must have been a trade. So my assumption, I have no knowledge, but my assumption is there was a trade for the videos because there were people on those videos.
And have you talked to Donald Trump about this and shared your theory?
No, I mean, he knows the story.
Right.
But my story that, I was one and done with the guy. He knows that story, but that's it.
He would have been interested in that story.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's a story. It's just a one and done. That guy. Ugh.
Why did the Epstein files show you coordinating a meeting and planning a visit with Jeffrey Epstein on his private island in December 2012?
Thank you for the question. I'm glad to be here to make it clear that I met Jeffrey Epstein when I moved to a house next door to him in New York, right? And I met him then. Over the next 14 years, I met him 2 other times that I can recall. 2 times. And that is none for 6 years. So 6 years later, I met him. And then a year and a half after that, I met him, and never again. Probably the total, and you've seen all of these documents, of these millions and millions of documents, there may be 10 emails connecting me with him, probably about 10 emails connecting me with him over a 14-year period. I did not have any relationship with him. I barely had anything to do with that person, okay?
Secretary Lutnick, I think you understand the root of concern here. It's the way you described very emphatically your first encounter with him in his apartment, said you were disgusted, would never have any contact with him again. Did you, in fact, make the visit to Jeffrey Epstein's private island?
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. My wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies. I had another couple they were there as well with their children, and we had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children, with my nannies and my wife, all together. We were on family vacation. We were not apart. To suggest there was anything untoward about that in 2012, I don't recall why we did it, but
Mr. Secretary, again, as I said, there's not an indication that you yourself engaged in any wrongdoing with Jeffrey Epstein. It's the fact that you believe that you misled the country and the Congress based on your earlier statements, suggesting that you cut off all contact when in fact you had not. When you visited the private island, did you see anything inappropriate during that visit?
the only thing I saw with my wife and my children and the other couple and their children was staff who worked for Mr. Epstein on that island.
And you realize that, this visit took place after he'd been convicted, right? I mean, you made a very big point of saying that you sensed that this was a bad person in 2005. And then, of course, in 2008, he was convicted of soliciting prostitution of a minor. And yet you went and had this trip and other interactions. Did you have a dinner in Epstein's New York City home in 2011?
No.
So the information that suggests that there was a dinner with Woody Allen and Woody Allen's spouse at the Epstein residence, there's nothing to that. Is that right?
I actually don't know what you're referring to. There was, look, I looked through the millions of documents for my name, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
And what I found was there was a document that says that I had a meeting with him on in May, I think, for an hour at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Not dinner or otherwise, for an hour at 5 o'clock.
All right. There's also a reference to the fact that Epstein had expressed an interest in meeting your nanny. Do you know whether Jeffrey Epstein ever met with your nanny?
No, I saw that. I had no idea what that was about. It had nothing to do with me,
No
as far as
interaction
I
at
know.
all with him on that?
No, as far as I know, no.
Would you, Mr. Secretary, be willing to ensure that the file is complete to share with this committee and the Congress your own records, any records you have that relate to Jeffrey Epstein?
I will surely talk about that. I hadn't thought about that. I have nothing to hide, absolutely nothing.
And Howard has built one of the great companies, Cantor Fitzgerald. It was wiped out, completely wiped out, other than a few people left in Europe. And he rebuilt the company into a bigger, better company. Cantor Fitzgerald is one of the most, absolutely one of the top companies on Wall Street, stocks, bonds, trading. And he took that, I mean, he literally watched the plane go into the building, go into the World Trade Center. Amazing story. That alone is an amazing story. He was delayed because his wife insisted that he finally, after years, take his child to school. So he took his child to school that one day, because normally he would have been in the building at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's that business, right? So you owe your wife a lot and your child a lot, right? But his wife insisted that he take his child to school. For 5 years he didn't do it. He was horrible. What kind of a father was he? Okay, I'll do it. And he was therefore driving down at 8:43, whatever the time was, down the West Side Highway, and he saw the plane go into the side of the building. He said, wow. And he occupied the top 3 floors of the World Trade Center, of the one building of the World Trade Center. And you know what happened there? He lost 100% of the people in that, his whole company was there. And he rebuilt his company step by step over years and became bigger and stronger. And he gave a tremendous amount of the profit to the families of the people that died, which he didn't have to do. And now he's working with us. He did an incredible job. I mean, anybody in that world, Howard Lutnick very well, and I'm honored to have him running commerce. He's going to be incredible. He loves the country.
David Lee Miller in Lower Manhattan. David, thank you very much. Since Tuesday, we've been mentioning a certain company, the bond trading firm Cantor Fitzgerald. They employed about 1,000 people on several top floors at the World Trade Center. The head of Cantor Fitzgerald, Howard Lutnick, just happened to be out of the office that day that the terrorists struck. Mr. Lutnick was taking his son to his first day of kindergarten. Now he says he has a very different view of business and life. He spoke to our business correspondent, Terry Keenan, earlier today.
We are really focused on trying to make sure that our 700 families who lost a member of their family are taken care of. And so I spent the day yesterday and part of the day in talking to our insurance company. Our insurance company, CNA, told me that they would, well, they told our guys, they didn't tell me, and then they told me that, that they were willing to treat this as an accidental death, which means that they would double the policy for all of my victims upstairs and all of us, and so that added $35 million to that group upstairs. But the sad thing is, so $35 million sounds like so much money, but if you divide it by 700 people, it's only $50,000. It's not enough to. So that's why we need to work on our foundation.
Yeah, and you've set up that foundation. We'll give the information to our viewers. Explain the needs of these young families. Many of your traders were just in their 30s.
We've got the average employee we have is around 33 years old. So they're just married. We have probably a dozen women who are pregnant with babies who just lost their husbands. We've got lots and lots and lots and lots. We must have more than 1,000 children, 1,500 children who've now lost one of their parents, and they've lost the breadwinner that makes all the money. So we are dedicated to raising money for our foundation, which will go to take care of and try to help the victims of this horrible tragedy and try to make their lives a little easier, whether that pays for health insurance for a long time, or gets them some extra money, or makes their lives even this much easier. I mean, that's what we're doing, and that's what we're driving for, and it's called the Cantor Fitzgerald Foundation. And anyone who can make a donation to it is going to help a lot of people who really need it.
And just finally, it was just accident of timing and luck on your part that you weren't in the building, and I know some of the other survivors here. How do you feel it must tear you in so many different directions?
I don't know why I'm alive. I not only was I didn't get to the building early enough so that I wasn't in it, but then I stood outside at the door helping people out and telling them to come on, get out, and asking what floor they were on, trying to find the higher and higher floors so that I could hopefully find someone coming down from 101, so that meant our guys and our women had survived. But I'm standing under the building when the number 2 collapses, and I'm just lucky to be alive, and I don't know why I am, but you know what, I'm just thankful, and it must be because I've got the responsibility to try to do my best for this group of 700 families, and I'm just one of them. I lost my brother, my sister's here. We're just part of the family, and that's my responsibility, and I'm going to do my best. And my fantastic employees at Cantor and eSpeed and TradeSpark, they're doing their best to support these guys, and that's what's driving them. And I think they're heroes. They're They're really all heroes.
Of the 1,000 Cantor employees at the Trade Center, only 300 are accounted for at this time, and none was at the building at that time. This immense human loss has truly devastated the chairman and CEO, Howard Lutnick, whose own brother is missing and presumed dead. You have suffered such great professional and personal loss. What is the fate of your brother?
Well, their loved ones, I'm just another one of them. Just another one of them.
Normally, you would have been in your office on which floor?
105th floor. On
the 105th floor. And yet you didn't go in early that morning because of a critical decision you made.
My little boy, I have a 5-year-old, and it was his first day of kindergarten at Horace Mann, so I took him for his first day of big boy school. And because of that, I was late getting down to the office, and therefore I wasn't in the building. I was on my way to the building instead.
And when you got to the building?
Well, I saw the building on fire, so I didn't go in. But I stood at the door off of Church Street. I wanted to get up the building and get people out of the building.
Because all your employees were on
101 to 105, the top floors of number 1 World Trade Center, which they call now the North Tower.
So how high was the highest number that you got to?
I got to the 91st floor, and I knew if I got one employee, if one person came down from that floor, then I know that there had to be others. There would be others behind them. There would be others going out other doors that would be good. But I got up to 91, and then I heard this sound. It sounded like another plane was going to hit the building. But it didn't sound like it was far away. It sounded like it was like right where the ceiling is above us. It was so unbelievably loud, and someone screamed out, "Another one's coming!" So I just turned around and ran, and I was running.
What was it?
It was a truck, and I'm sitting there in this black, the blackest black that can ever be. I reached up, I tried to see if I could see, and I took my hands and I put it up, and I actually touched my eye, and it was so much smoke, and I wasn't smart enough.
You couldn't even see your own hand?
I couldn't see my hand. I could feel the particles in the air. They were like this big. I could feel them going in, and I couldn't think to like pick up my shirt and put it. I was just sitting there thinking, I can't believe it. I can't believe by standing there I died. So I just start walking. I just start walking straight, and I just walk straight, and I just keep walking straight. And I called my wife 4 hours later, and she was hysterical crying, and so I understand why it took lots of people a long time. I'm a pretty together person, and 4 hours I just walked north. I just kept walking.
One of your other offices had a squawk box open, and the other offices were able to hear the screams. Is that true?
I don't know that they heard. It is true that we have a squawk box. Yeah, we have a speakerphone because all our offices are connected in our equity business. They're all connected to each other because they talk to each other all day, and they heard them saying, we need help, we need help, we need help. It wasn't screams. There was nowhere to go. You couldn't go down, you couldn't go up. There was nowhere to go. But I don't know of a single one of my employees who got down. Zero, and it's really sad. But I think we're all pulling together with a view that we want to make things happen for them. We need to take care of them. We need to figure out how to take care of them, and give them more, take care of them. And I think it's going to be a different kind of drive than I've ever had before. It's not about my family. I get to kiss my kids. I get to kiss my kids tonight. But other people don't get to kiss their kids. And I just have to help them. And I think what's amazing, and I think it's amazing, you have 300 people. They lost all their friends. They lost the person to their left. They lost the person to their right. And they call me up and they say, I want to go to work. I said, why do you want to go to work? Let's just go to funerals. They go, no, I want to go to work. I can't stay home. I can't stay home. I have to work. I have to do something. And so they actually wanted to try to figure out how to be in business. It's unbelievable. It's great. It doesn't make any sense. But I can't say it. I can't say it without crying.
You spent hours and hours talking to every family member. You have spent hours at the Pierre Hotel in that ballroom.
Well, I go in, I just tell them, look, I'll answer any question you want, anything about it. But I lost my brother, and I'm in no different position than you are. I'm not any different. I'll just tell you everything I know. But I get to say to everybody so that they believe me. that when I say that we are doing everything we can to find their kid, that they know that I do not look for my brother. I don't go to any hospital or get anybody to go to any hospital and say, find Gary Lutnick for me.
Why not?
Because I go with an employee list. I say, here's my list. Here's everybody I got. Find somebody on this list. I don't care who they are, because if you find someone on this list, then I get to call them. And I get to give somebody else some hope, some dream. Maybe they get to kiss their kids. I'd love to find my brother, but I'd love to find their brother or their wife or their husband or anything.
It's been said that the loss of your company will have worldwide impact.
Cantor Fitzgerald is the primary, it's like the exchange for the world's bond markets. I mean, it is the exchange for the world bond markets. Last year we did $50 trillion in business. Today, the remaining employees of Cantor Fitzgerald and eSpeed have worked every second since that bomb, and they made the decision. And I told them there's no reason for us to open. I don't care when we open, if we open, it doesn't matter to me. And they collectively, 250 of them, collectively voted that they were going to open the markets. And this morning, at 7 a.m., those people opened for business, not to make money, but they did it because they thought if the Fed and the Treasury wanted it to be open, and it was important enough for them to show strength for America and for these markets, then they were going to do their damnedest to get it open, and they did. And I voted against it. I said, why? I don't want you to work. I want you to go home and kiss your kids and hug your families. But it's them. They wanted to do it, maybe for themselves, maybe for their friends who they lost. But so right this second, our electronic systems are running around the world, and it's, I don't know, maybe it's a miracle, maybe it's because these people are they're unbelievable. They're the best.
Maybe they're the best because they had an incredible boss.
I think it goes the other way around. I think you can only be a good boss if you have the right people. And I'm glad they chose to be with me, but I'm the saddest person in the world that they chose to be with me, because they would have chosen to be with me. So many people, so many names, so many people I loved.
Many of the Cantor families that we spoke with said that he's truly a remarkable man, and I think, Peter, he just clearly doesn't fit the image of a typical CEO on Wall Street.
No kidding. Thanks, Connie, very much. Connie Chung. Howard Lutnick, a personality from Cantor Fitzgerald, the CEO, a man with 700 families, and a much expanded family, I would think, now that we have seen him and shared his tragedy with him. Howard Lutnick, a personality this country will not forget. Period.